When you think of Antarctica, what comes to mind? Probably a huge, empty continent of ice, right? Just this static, frozen world locked away at the bottom of our planet. But what if I told you that underneath all that ice, there is a hidden world that's more mysterious, more unknown than the surface of the moon? Let's dive in and see what's hiding in this completely uncharted territory. Just let that sink in for a second. We've mapped other planets and moons with incredible detail, yet the actual landmass buried beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, well, it's one of the last truly unexplored places on our own planet. It is a profound, profound mystery. So the big question is, what is hiding down there? Well, the answer isn't simple. It's a story that involves massive hidden lakes, ancient landscapes, and some really critical clues about our planet's past and, as we'll see, its future. So, the very first discovery that just shattered this image of Antarctica as one solid block of ice was a total shocker. It was the realization that there's a massive, hidden world of liquid water down there. And I'm not talking about just a few little ponds here and there. Nope. Scientists have now found a whole network of over 400 lakes beneath the ice. This isn't some frozen, static environment. It's a dynamic plumbing system of moving water, all completely hidden from view. And the crown jewel of this hidden water world is Lake Vostok. It was discovered back in 1996, and it's one of the largest lakes on the entire planet. And the craziest part? It has been totally sealed off from the outside world for potentially millions of years. To give you a sense of scale here, Lake Vostok is over 200 kilometers long. That's a colossal body of fresh water, buried under 4 kilometers. That's about 2.5 miles of solid ice. Just massive. You can imagine this discovery just immediately set off these huge questions in the scientific community. Like, could there be unique life forms that have evolved down there in total isolation for all that time? Could the mud at the bottom of the lake be this perfect, undisturbed record of Earth's climate history? And hey, could exploring these lakes actually teach us how to look for life on icy moons like Europa in our own solar system? But all of this excitement created a massive dilemma. I mean, we'd found this pristine, maybe irreplaceable world. So how could we possibly explore it without contaminating it and basically destroying the very thing we wanted to study? So you've got this huge conflict, right? On one side, you have this environment that's been isolated for up to 14 million years, a potential cradle for totally undiscovered life. But on the other side, there's this enormous risk of bringing in microbes from the surface, which would ruin the science and maybe alter this unique ecosystem forever. This is where the international community had to step in. The Scientific Committee on Antarctic Research, or SCAR for short, took the lead. They recognized that this was a global challenge that needed a global agreement on how to move forward responsibly. And the solution they came up with was a code of conduct. The goal wasn't to stop exploration, but to make sure it was done the right way. First, any plan had to be made public, open to review from scientists all over the world. Second, you had to use incredibly clean tech, like special hot water drills that use filtered, pasteurized water, making it cleaner than the ice it's melting. And third, every single piece of gear going down into a lake had to be sterilized to, medical-grade levels. And all of this careful, clean exploration has led to some absolutely staggering breakthroughs. We are finally starting to read the secrets that have been hidden in the deep for so long. Okay, so the first major breakthrough came from this really ambitious international project. Their goal was to do something that had never been successfully done before: pull up a clean, layered sample of mud from the bottom of one of these subglacial lakes. Now, to get why that's such a big deal, you need to know what a sediment core is. The best way to think about it is like a time capsule. Just like tree rings tell you the history of a tree, each layer in this tube of mud tells a story about the environment at the time it was laid down. It's basically a history book of the climate, going back year by year. And they did it! After drilling through more than 1 kilometer of ice over a place called Mercer Subglacial Lake, the team pulled up a sediment core that wasn't just a jumbled mess like in past attempts. No, this one had distinct layers, a preserved history of the lake's activity. It was a huge success. This quote from geophysicist Matthew Siegfried just captures the significance perfectly. He said, "It's like pulling up a rock in New Orleans and being able to understand how the Mississippi River has behaved for the last 1,000 years." From one single sample, they can start to piece together the entire history of this hidden water system.
But the secrets aren't just in the mud. The second incredible breakthrough revealed something even bigger, even more mind-blowing. An entire ancient landscape, perfectly preserved and frozen in time.
And when I say ancient, I mean it. This landscape hasn't seen the light of day for at least 14 million years. It is a literal snapshot of what Antarctica looked like long before it got buried under miles of ice. The contrast is just stunning. On the surface today, you see this vast, almost featureless plain of ice. But beneath it, ice-penetrating radar has revealed this intricate world of deep river valleys and sharp ridges. It's a completely different world down there.
So this lost world, which is about the size of the state of Maryland, was carved by actual rivers, back when Antarctica was a much warmer, greener continent. The fact that it's so perfectly preserved tells us the ice sheet must have frozen over it pretty quickly, protecting it from erosion for all those millions of years.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating history, right? But why does discovering a 14-million-year-old landscape actually matter to us today? Well, because these clues from the deep past are absolutely essential for forecasting our future. Here's how it all connects. That sediment core, it tells us how all that hidden water lubricates the base of the ice sheet, which affects how fast it flows out to sea. And that ancient landscape, it gives our climate models a real-world test, showing them exactly which parts of Antarctica were ice-free during past warm periods. All of this is critical data for one of the most important questions scientists are trying to answer. How much is Antarctica's ice going to melt and raise sea levels? And this brings us to the most crucial and honestly pretty sobering point of it all. The last time this landscape was open to the air, the last time rivers were flowing through these valleys, was when global temperatures were only a few degrees warmer than they were before the Industrial Revolution. That's a temperature threshold our planet is rapidly approaching right now. And that leaves us with the final, urgent question. For 14 million years, this world has been hidden away beneath the ice. As our own world continues to warm, we have to ask ourselves, are we on the verge of uncovering it all over again? And what would that really mean for all of us?